Secret Garden. Today, we're having a women's panel about topics about today's life and relationships. And I have here today Denise Moore, Kim Anderson, Jessica, and D'Lo. So today we're going to be picking questions and discussing topics on what's going on today, how we feel about it, and you're welcome to join in at any time. I'm Tina, your host. This is Her Epiphany, The Secret Garden. Jessica.
Hi, hello everyone.
So our first question is, dun, 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 dun. Okay. Why are white women expecting black women to fight for abortion rights?
It's serious.
Wow. That's kind of deep. Is it necessarily white women expecting black women to fight?
Well, yeah, to a certain degree, because, based off of feminism, right?
Mhm.
Feminism could come about through them.
Yes.
And, they've always tried to recruit us
Mhm.
to
Right.
become feminists. But again, as black women, we've always had our own challenges. We've tried to join with white women many times to try to collectively solve some of the issues as a female, but it's always been their agenda to a certain degree. And if we were to even go along and join with their agenda, they would get their problem resolved, but we never get our issues resolved.
So what are the differences between black and white and abortion, like as far as
So
the race?
the way that I see it here now that we've, kind of, abortion is no longer at this point,
Right.
that doesn't really affect the black community that much. We've been kind of dealing with, abortion issues and having children for many, many years, right?
But I believe it was really high at one point in time when we had Planned Parenthood. Anybody remember that?
Back in
You know.
the 90s.
Yeah. So is that completely totally
Planned-
knocked out?
Planned Parenthood is still- Planned Parenthood is still there. The problem is that, politically, let me just say it this way. Politically, this agenda that is being pushed with abortion is not really of any benefit to us in any kind of way, right? Because black and brown, our babies really don't matter. It doesn't matter. The agenda that's being pushed at this point right now with abortion is more coming from the white community because they need to have their numbers right.
Their numbers are
They're
dropping.
losing ground.
So that's the whole point.
Right. They're
Right.
losing ground now.
So
And-
we are having babies. However, our babies are being killed
Killed. Correct.
every day.
Not from just
Right.
only police brutality or violence. You also have to think about pregnant women when they're in the hospital. They're not, our level of care and our level of service is not the same.
So many African American women are passing from birth now. It's ridiculous.
Correct.
The rates on that it's risen
Correct.
over the past few years.
And so my whole thing is that a lot of white women, when this whole abortion thing was coming about, the agenda was being pushed by white men and white women. They stood behind their husbands and they voted for, the agenda at this point. Not that they can't have the abortions, they want black women to come together and collectively say that we're opposed to having, abortion being banned. Well, the whole thing of it is that when we try to tell you this, that, what you're voting for politically is not going to be a benefit to you in the long term, right? That nobody really paid attention to it until now. You have to do it.
So is anybody here against abortion? Or are you for it? You're against it?
Yeah.
I'm not really for abortion, but I feel like, if you're under a certain circumstance, rape, incest, an illness, you should be entitled to have an abortion and have that right over your body. However, if you're using it for birth control,
Right.
then no,
Right.
it's not birth control.
How do you
Put on a condom.
how do you regulate that? And I definitely agree with
Right.
what you're saying about it's their agenda and not ours because their numbers are dwindling. And that's why you see a lot of more like mixed race babies and biracial babies because they're not race.
However, because we have the biracial babies now, then that's helping the white race diminish. Because once you have a certain percentage of black people,
No, that's not necessarily true. I apologize, but they're not identifying as black children.
No.
They're identifying as, and then they're not going to, a lot of times, they're not going to really stand to say, oh, I'm a black or African American or melanated person. They're going to be more for the other side. So, yeah, they're not identifying as black at all.
I think it's, to just be fair with that, I think that some kids, depending on what their environment is, and of course what
they'll
they look
adapt
like,
to whatever their environment is.
right, and what they look like, their appearance.
Because I feel like if a biracial child lives in a black, more predominant black
Neighborhood, right.
community, then they're going to, I'm black.
Right. They'll
But if
identify.
I'm in, more Caucasian community,
They may not identify as
You think so?
That makes sense.
What do you think,
I
Brad?
don't think, like, with none of that. Like, one, with the abortion thing, I'm gonna just be real clear. I feel like people get the right to choose. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like, I'm
right.
not God. I don't get to make decisions for what you do with your body. I would hope that people would have morals and have some kind of value that would say, I'm not just out here using this for birth control. Or I'm not just doing this because it's the easy way out. However, moment of transparency, I'm an adopted child. Now, I'm one child that got parents that adopted me at birth.
Right.
Imagine if people didn't have the right to choose, that could not take care of their kids and didn't have the right to choose and were forced to keep the child. Think about how many more kids there are out here now that would be in foster care.
Right.
I'm not suggesting to have an abortion or whatever
Nobody
to avoid
says
us having kids that need to be adopted, but realistically, there's not enough parents for these kids already.
Right.
We don't need to have more kids because at the end of the day, that kid is the only one that suffers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Those parents can leave that kid anywhere. And then what we gonna do? We gotta put them somewhere.
So you have more kids out here who
Right.
fending for themselves or in a foster system.
And I mean,
Which
like you
nobody
said,
look at.
especially when it comes to violent situations or situations of assault, like stuff like that. In my opinion, I think that people should have the right to choose because, not because they shouldn't have the baby, but they shouldn't be in a situation where their trauma is going to cause that baby harm. And so if you went through something and as a result you ended up pregnant, you can't take that out on that kid. And everybody is not of sound mind.
Right.
So people who get therapy and all that other stuff, that's a whole different story. But everybody doesn't have access to it. Like you were talking about the healthcare system. Everybody doesn't have access. And if you do, some people are too embarrassed because of the way that as Black people we treat each other about mental health.
Right.
So but then with the mixed kid thing, I actually have some friends that are biracial and they be specific about saying they Black. Like I know back in the day it used to be different, but these days, these biracial motherfuckers, like my bad, I don't know.
You're fine.
But these biracial people, they don't be playing about this melanin. A lot of them really don't. And this is a young lady that I know grew up in an area of poverty, but was around a lot of white people and a lot of Black people. So she could have went either direction. And she landed on the side where it's melanin lies. You know what I'm saying? And she is specific about clearing it up. If you look at her, she may look like she's foreign. She doesn't necessarily look white, but she looks like she might be Latin or something like that. And she specifies that she is Black. Simply because I guess she just feels like she identifies with that side of her more.
Right.
I just think it's what a person identifies. Your neighborhood don't really have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you remember the days when they used to be like, if you speak properly, you talking white. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm acting white, but I'm a whole lot Black. You see I'm Black, you know what I mean? But now I'm acting white. So it's who you are.
Right, as a person.
You know, people will say you acting white, but that ain't nothing but you being
Being who
speaking
you
proper.
are.
You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right,
That's
right.
all that is.
I
can
can.
agree.
I have 4 children. 2 of them were raised more so kind of county, city, you know, and they're not so proper. But I have 2 kids that I just raised in a county, and they're proper, you know, and I mean, it's just I think sometimes it could be your environment because my kids that weren't raised just only in the county, they just you know they talk the way they talk.
I mean, that's just your environment, yeah, but you know, I think you can be a city kid and act as just as suburban as any other kid that's out in the county. Like the area don't matter to me. I feel
think
like it's what you're
it has a
exposed
lot-
to in
right.
general, but maybe
What you're
not
exposed
where
to,
you live
right?
and all of that. You know, if you get a chance to go to a private school, if you go into Bryn Mawr and you live down in Cherry Hill, you're exposed to something different, I guess. So I guess I agree
Yeah,
with you on that.
kind of like you know the demeanor is a little different. Yeah. So you have any thoughts on?
I don't think it's black or white. I just think it's women, period.
In general,
Yeah.
it shouldn't have
Women
a race
should,
to it.
yeah, women should have a right to choose what they want to do with their body. I do hear about the statistical side of it, you know, being that it may not necessarily be an issue for the black community, but I don't think we always need to divide everything. If you're a woman, you're a woman. You need to choose whether you are capable of, you know, being a parent or physically able to be a parent. That's your choice of whether, you know, you want to have an abortion or not. I don't isolate it to it being a race thing. That's just
So let's go to our next question. Thank you, Jessica.
Not kind of white.
Vanna Black.
Vanna Black. Vanna Brown. Vanna Cartwright. So, can a side guy / side girl become the main person? Wow.
I mean, sure, but that depends on the
This
people.
in a situation, you think? I mean,
Well,
why would you?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's like some type of definitive answer for that. Of
So
course, it's
my
very
whole thing is, what is your purpose of being with that person? Is it to eventually become that main person, or is it just I don't want to settle down and I'm just good with dating this person on the sideline?
That's not side.
What's not side?
What you just described was a single person dating somebody. A
Yeah.
side, that's not side. Right? So it's like if you single and you date somebody, that's not a side
Yeah, but
relationship.
that person's in a relationship.
We didn't say that. So you're looking at it from the perspective of that person. I'm saying somebody in a relationship dating somebody else.
Right. Who's that?
Can they? It doesn't matter whether they're in a
Right.
relationship. Can you make the person that you are? If I gotta break this down,
Okay.
if
so,
you can, you make the person that you're cheating with your person. That's the question.
Sure, you can.
If you want to, if you want to be with that person want to be with you, of course. You don't.
So you think it's just that cut and dry? The trust factor doesn't come in, like nothing. It's just cut and dry. No, it's not.
No, it's not. It, like I said, originally it varies from relationship to relationship. It depends on what each person wants. Is a side person like, are they gonna be willing to trust this other person, being that they've
After
been the
that,
side
right.
person? You know,
Because
that's
it
what they
wasn't
want
like
to do.
you was
Yeah,
forced
but-
into that situation. You put yourself into that situation, and what were your motives of being in that situation?
Sometimes you can get in that situation unknowingly.
Okay, and you have a choice.
Right. That's
Do
what
I
I'm
want to
saying.
stay and go through this and hopefully I become that person? Or do I want to get out of this? And then the person that is in a relationship, they have to make a decision. But can you trust that person?
It
Do
depends.
you think that
on-
person can be trusted? Afterwards, Jessica.
Like she said, it's really no definitive answer because every situation could be different. I know the woman or the man probably always would kind of in the back of their mind question, is this person faithful? Are they cheating? Are they looking for somebody else? So, I mean, to avoid everything, just don't be a side chick or a side guy or whatever. And it's not really tough enough dating.
I feel
as
like
is.
I'm a strong believer of karma. And I feel like premise is kind of, it sets the tone. So how you begin in a relationship with somebody,
That's how it
I
is.
think that's going to give you some breadcrumbs for how it will progress or possibly the future of it.
Yeah.
So I'll speak for an example. I had a friend, a guy that I was hanging out with, and I was like his wingman. We just strictly friends, hanging out one night. He meets this chick. They exchange information, and they start talking. Come to find out, she's actually in a relationship. And I say to him, you really want to get into that? Because for me, I feel like the premise is everything. How do you really think it's going to go if you essentially, in my opinion, it's kind of starting off wrong.
Right.
And fast forward,
How many kids they got?
there's kids, but
I knew it.
Things work out.
I knew it.
I know
How
a
many
situation where somebody was dating a person that was involved. They ended up getting married and having children, but the thing was the first couple, she was stepping outside of their relationship as well. So she was stepping out, he was stepping out, and then eventually they separated. But the woman that was the side woman, they ended up being married, having families together, and all that. So it depends. But I know in the back of her mind, she always would wonder, is he gonna do the same thing to me? But I don't know. Me personally, I really don't want to deal with anybody else, women and children and all that other
Yeah,
stuff. It's just not necessary for me. So,
What do you think, Eva?
That shit don't work. It really don't. Because first of all, let's say I was the one in the relationship and I'm dealing with somebody else, they're the side. First of all, the first problem is you're okay with being the side.
Right.
So even if I do leave this one and marry you, you okay with being the side. So you won't let me get away with anything. You're not going to be happy in that relationship.
Right.
man is going to do that, he should be honest about what it is he wants. If he knows he's going to be with multiple women and does not want a monogamous relationship, I think you should just say it.
You're right.
Versus you're out here and you're, dealing with infidelity, cheating, divorce, and lies. So I don't practice that, but I'm not judging anybody. So if you can be honest about as a man what you want, and if a woman is willing to accept that, but why lie to her and tell her she's only one, or she's thinking that you all are here in the next year or two. So now you got multiple children by multiple women, or you have multiple wives. Why not just have a discussion about it instead of
I feel like people can't be honest with themselves, and it's like a stigma or something to say, oh, I'm seeing this person and I want to see you too. I'm not for it. I want my own. I don't like to share, but
you'll be surprised how many people. I think for men, they would probably be surprised how many women would go along with it if they were honest about what they wanted versus.
What do you think the percentage is from 100? 8.
8.
Yeah,
8.
percentage is too low. The risk is too high to be that honest.
Okay, well, I
That's
don't know.
when you ask why we lie. That's why.
Yeah.
Because the roll of the dice, niggas will roll the dice, right?
Uh-huh.
They'll shoot craps. They'll play dope, but the percentage for that is higher than what you're talking about. The average woman, like Tina said, wants to be the only one. That's the average woman.
Right.
She doesn't want to do that type of sharing, right?
Right.
So that means you're talking about somebody who's not average. So it's something that's rare. It's every now and then type of person. And so usually a person, as guys, we balancing things. We trying to say, okay, maybe, you kind of, we're sampling. That's your word. We're trying to figure things out, right? And that's, it is not fair to your point, but y'all do a lot of sampling as well.
I'm not into the polygamy thing, but I don't know, the older I get, I'm not sure how much I buy into monogamy. I mean, let's just be real.
Yeah.
Like, how many of these relationships
Are
are
monogamous.
people truthfully, there's a gamut of things you could be doing other than just like sexual intercourse to deem it as cheating. Like, we are putting kind of unrealistic holds on one another. Like, you are supposed to have one dick or one pussy for eternity. Never look at nobody else, smell nobody else, do not know nobody else. It's just,
not realistic.
I don't know
I
how
think that's like you're
realistic that
possessing
is.
somebody, like you're
Yeah,
mine,
we
all
shouldn't
mine.
be possessing one another.
And I feel like, not that
So
y'all,
I would rather, listen,
would you want to be in a monogamous relationship?
I would want to,
I don't want a
but
monogamous
I would
relationship.
have a caveat to it. Whereas, listen, we really need to keep this 100. Like,
But everybody don't keep
realistically-
it 100.
well, but this is the understanding I would want to have with my partner. Like, I want you to let me know what's going on.
They don't.
The worst thing is finding out on your own or somebody else or some other weird type of something rather than you are in my, we have a commitment with one another and I got to find out something from somebody outside of our relationship.
So if that person told you, hey, I want to see you and see somebody else too, would you be okay
Let's
with
talk
that?
about it. I'm open to having open
Relationship.
dialogue.
Right.
I'm not saying fully open to just be all wild out, but I feel like there's an element of reality that needs to be
A lot of
had.
men are dating multiple women anyway. So you might not be the only one he's dating. And I'm not saying I'm for it, but to say you're going to be in this monogamous relationship, if you have that, that's a beautiful thing. But if you don't have that, and if that's not the reality for everybody, then it is good to have an open dialogue. So a lot of men are dating, a lot of men have multiple children. So it's like, why not have an open dialogue and be real about your intentions versus you're out here,
Creeping around.
I
Yeah.
feel like regardless of what you choose or however you want it, be freaking honest. Just with
Right.
yourself. So you can, and the person you're with, because anything can happen. This person could be out, you could be out, and y'all bump into each other. Or this person could, be thinking it's just me and you, and then somebody's calling this person on the
Right.
phone or
Yeah.
attacking this person, and it's like, wait a minute, you told me it was just me and you. You wasn't seeing anybody. So, I just feel like for your safety, for, if you care about that person you're seeing, because sometimes people don't think about, what it takes people through mentally,
Yeah.
and emotionally, how, it could cause somebody to snap or somebody to, go into
Hurt somebody.
depression,
You might hurt somebody.
so it's just honest, being
Respectful.
honest with yourself and respectful, right?
Yeah. My
Respect yourself and the person that you're dealing with.
My father has 6 daughters by 3 or 4 different women. So my father was a great person, and the women, they never were friends or they never got along. Like, they weren't friends or they weren't. It wasn't like they got along or didn't get along.
Right.
But they never said anything bad about my father. My mother did. Sorry, I gotta say, she did tell me when we were growing up that I knew that he had
And she was
multiple
okay
women.
with it.
No, she wasn't okay with it.
She
It
had
really
to
hurt her.
be.
No. They didn't stay together.
Oh, okay.
So they weren't married. So what I was saying is, like, when I was very young, my father was stepping out, having more kids and being with different women. So he had all these children. Nobody ever, like, as I became an adult, and the women never said anything bad about him. He was just a good person, but he just was with multiple women. He had all daughters. He was a martial artist. My father, and when I looked at my dad, I said, oh, he was a very good-looking man. Like, I didn't realize that as a child, because that was my dad. But I said, oh, okay, that's probably why, he wanted to date and be with all these women and stuff. But, so he was one of them that did that, was out there.
So how do you feel about your dad now that you know that?
Well, I picked up the habits at one point because, no, meaning like when I was younger, I didn't know how to be. Like, I thought that you dated multiple people, or you would go on a date, or you had a boyfriend and then a friend or whatever. But I said, that's really not, I'm just being honest, that's really not the way to go, So, I don't know how I feel about it personally. Like I said,
I think it's
So have you ever dated someone, D-Lo, have you ever dated someone and not been, honest about?
Hell no, I don't play that shit.
Right.
I don't play none of that.
Right.
I'm not doing no polygamy. It ain't gonna be nobody else. It's me and you. You don't want monogamy. You're not for me.
Pull
That's
out
all
the
it is to it.
knife.
I met somebody who thought that she was gonna drop that polygamy shit on me.
Right.
And when we met, like we met, we were dating. You dropped that on me. I told you how I felt about it. We had a conversation. I said I wasn't cool with it, so if that's what you was gonna do, it was good meeting you. You're a great person, but that's not for me.
Right.
She chose to say she was gonna put that to the side, but she really couldn't put that to the side. So now you got people flying in town talking about, oh, I'm gonna hang out with my homegirl, but that's really one of your little joints over there on the side. And I made it very clear. I stood my ground. I said, listen, I told you I'm not gonna deal with it. You thought that I was playing. You thought you was gonna pacify the situation for a while, and then you were just gonna do what you do. And I'm not with that. I have to choose what I'm gonna accept. And I'm not willing to accept it. Simply because, all right, if people want to do that, that's their business. That's just not what I want to do. I would rather deal with one person, and that's that. Now, if it's a situation where me and that person trying to add a little spice or something, and something happens once in a while, I could see maybe that possibly happening, but that's really not my thing anyway. But if it was something that my partner was adamant about that they wanted to try out maybe once in a blue moon, that would be something to think about, to work up to. We got to have a certain level of trust. But I would prefer to be in a situation which is me and that person.
Right.
That's it. I'm not doing all that group shit. Hell no.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not into poly
That's too nasty.
Next question.
We better get somebody else to pick these questions.
I didn't write these questions.
Wow, Joe. Who wrote these?
I know, right? I don't know.
When feeling betrayed at work or in relationships, what are some positive coping mechanisms? Betrayed by anyone. Communicate, express how you feel, and if that person doesn't respect how you feel, and acknowledge, how they're bothering you or have hurt you, then you distance yourself. You try to work it out, but you can't make people, like you. At the end of the day, you can't make people like you. I have tons of people that don't like me, but I'm still breathing. I still gotta live my life. I still have to be who I am at the end of the day. That's their issue. I can say, hey, what problem do you have with me? And can we work it out? But if you can't even acknowledge what problem you have, because sometimes people have inner problems and take it out on you because you have what they don't have. So, you can't control that situation. You try, like she said, try to communicate, but there's not much you can do in that situation.
That was my question. I think I want to frame it more so, forget the other party. What are you doing to control you having those feelings? Maybe more so if it's something that was not necessarily expected. You know what I'm saying? When
Right.
betrayal shows up and it was
Man.
not in the clothing that you would have ever thought that it was
Right.
going to be in,
Right.
what do you do with yourself to cope in a positive way?
Confront the person.
No, I'm outside of the person.
Right, but
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
You,
Right.
But you could talk it out.
What are you doing
can't
to
go to
attract
therapy?
this type of feeling or thoughts? Like, why is this happening?
It hurts. I mean, you can't control
Like how-
betrayal.
Like,
But I'm
is
saying,
this
how
something
do you-
within
How
yourself
do you
that's
get through it? Minus the
Right.
party. Like what type
Go
of
through
things
therapy.
do you do?
You can go through therapy. You know, you can again outside of that person. You know, you can use your spirituality. It's just certain things you could do. You know,
Yeah, that's
try
what
to,
I'm talking about.
yeah, it's certain things you could do to get it. At the end of the day, it's going to take time to get past it. It's just not going to go away. It's there. You know, I have things that have been done to me recently to where, you know, I feel betrayed, but and it's still going to pop up until, you know, I tell myself this too shall pass. You know, this feeling shall pass. But until it passes, you have to do things to motivate yourself, encourage yourself, uplift yourself. Be around people who are
Right.
positive. You know, stay away from people who, at the end of the day, you got to cut that off. If you can't respect me and you make me feel a certain way to where I'm going outside of my character,
Yeah, I found that it's a good time to kind of quiet yourself.
yeah.
And
Quiet in
do
the
one of
midst of
those
the
things
storm.
where you kind of step back so
Right.
that you don't get on. I mean, it's easy to jump on a petty wagon. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To think of how you can get revenge. You know what I'm saying? Like all these things, in my opinion, it's like they readily like come in your mind. But if I'm not that type of person, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a vindictive type of individual. I'm not a petty person. I'm not a person that's like on get back.
Right.
But that's not to say that these things don't enter my mind when betrayal shows
Yeah,
up.
but
And it's
you
like,
have
oh
to
my God,
control those
I
feelings.
thought you was my homegirl.
Right.
But I have to take a minute to make sure I'm being true to me and not allow.
But you
That
gotta
to-
realize
you know.
in life that everybody you come in contact with is going to make you happy at some point. They're going to make you sad. They can betray you. They can hurt you. They can make you cry. Whatever the case may be, it's life. It's natural. But we go through life thinking, okay, we're cousins, we're friends. You're my dad. You're my auntie.
It's like,
And it's supposed to be perfect. No, we're human. We do things. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes intentionally. But at the end of the day, you have to say, hey, what am I going to do with self so I can overcome these things that are going to come to me? Because they're coming, regardless if you want them to or not. And not in dressed up in a devil's, you know, costume like you think. They're, most likely they're going to come in those people that I name. And that's what hurts the most, you know. And yeah, I've been dealing with that quite often recently. But, you know, you just have to find out a way to make yourself happy and live through it. Live through it because it's still going to keep coming.
Cut people off.
Right.
You give me a problem at this age, at 44,
right.
you give me an issue, it's very simple to block. You don't have contact, which means that out of sight, out of mind. I don't have time for that energy. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't
have
care
no
about
problem
title.
cutting people off at this point. I don't care who you are.
Right.
You can get cut off because the same way I came into this world without you, I'm gonna leave this world without you. It is what it is. And especially if it comes to a point where it compromises my mental health. I have friends of mine that have issues that they have to deal with on their own. But when you start to tear yourself down, I can't sit there and watch that as my friend. So I gotta cut you off. And it's out of love. But it's out of love for you and love for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I gotta do what I gotta do. And also at the same time, you know,
You
when
can
it's
do it
a
peacefully.
bigger situation, if it's more like coworkers, you can't get me mad.
Right.
I remember at one point in time where I thought coworkers were friends, but no,
Right.
that's they.
Yeah.
Especially being a comedian, I don't have friends in comedy anymore. I have coworkers, and that's all it will ever be. We can have a great time, but we are coworkers. There is no emotion tied to this at the end of the day. Because I can't allow you to get me mad, because then all that happens is because we're going to be around each other at shows. If you get me mad, if I see you at a show, I don't want to think about that. I got to go on stage and go earn my money.
Right.
So I don't have time for none of that.
Yeah, I had a young lady who I had to talk to pretty much. She didn't know how to, bring that balance and say, we're working together. And, people get these jobs and they think, oh, this is a friend opportunity. No, it's not a friend opportunity. I have a salon and I work with many stylists. I go to work and I go home. If we speak, it's about business. Or maybe just something platonic. But we're not, I don't mix the two because it just doesn't. Because people come from different backgrounds. And they're going to show you who, you want to see at that moment. But you don't know what they're dealing with or what they've been through at home. Now, if it happens naturally. But you can't, just because we're working together. I know so many people that have lost their jobs over becoming too friendly at work. Too friendly.
Too personal.
Right. And then people are looking at you and you thinking they're your friend. And I'm like, zip it. Because they're waiting for the opportunity to get your position. You know what I mean?
General, people just gotta be selfish. Like, you just gotta look at yourself
with yourself.
Will this situation with this person put me in a position that's gonna mess up my money? Is this gonna put me in a situation that's gonna mess up my mental health? Is this gonna put me in a situation where I'm gonna be angry all the time? And I ain't got to do too much thinking about it. If you sitting there getting on my nerves, I go, okay, I don't really need this. Block. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's real simple. And if it's meant to be, y'all come back around each other. It's not that serious.
Right.
I'm sure the friends that we all have are people that have been around for a long time.
Right.
And these new niggas that are coming around, they're like, okay, it's time for you to get blocked now. You had your time. People here for a season. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You gotta put too much energy into it. Fuck that. If them people at salons get on your nerve, girl, that's your salon. You have a nice day, ma'am.
Oh,
That's
I've done checked some people.
It's real simple.
I pay for this right here. Don't cross that right there.
Have a nice day.
Arms folded and everything. Don't cross that right there. We're not doing that.
May the Lord be with you.
Right.
Real nice nasty with it too.
So wait a minute. How do you deal with that now that we have gotten into more so working from home? Because now it's through, the internet. Do you deal with that, Denise?
What with
as far as
Telework.
dealing with people at work, you work from home, and they're doing certain things. Like, y'all have meetings and stuff like that. So y'all got to talk. Do you keep it, just... You do it too, Kim. Like,
I mean,
do that.
It depends on the day, honestly. In general, I do like to be separate. Home, work. But I have found that, maybe I'll do a little line tread, share some personal things that aren't necessarily a big deal to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just
And then
to
you keep
develop
it as that.
rapport and be relatable with people. You kind of should watch. Like, I'm not telling them what I do when I go home. You know what I'm saying? Like, every little thing. I light up. I ain't you know what I'm saying? Like, some things, but just to be personable enough, so that people can relate to you and find the humanity in you, right? But you do have to kind of keep a close regard for it so that you can kind of not get into that whole little game that people do, where they will try to, they'll try to use personal things to come at you in different ways. So pretty much nothing that I'm thinking is going to be amounting to anything. And also just generally try to have an air of professionalism. Like, even when I'm like doing instant messaging with some of my coworkers, you know, I'm not like cursing on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing something that if somebody else read it, they would be thinking like, oh, this girl she's highly unprofessional, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, always kind of keeping that third eye open, you know, and being cognizant that, you know, it's a professional environment. So make sure that in general, you err more on the side of professionalism and don't muddy it up too much with too much personal stuff.
Because I know sometimes, you know, you guys may have, like, y'all get out meetings together or
Yeah,
go out
like
on a
happy
step,
hours
yeah,
and
stuff like that. Or, hey girl, let's go hang out. You know, do you do that? Do you hang out with them?
Not really. No. Sometimes like around Christmas time, they'll do like special holiday. Yeah, I'll do some things where it's just like it's just nice to be nice. You know, I don't have to go and shut the place down and spend the whole evening. But you know, just to be cordial. Again, these are things that I think help create the humanity in one another. And you don't have to like have such a like big commitment to telling your life story.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that there are small steps that you can take.
I know at my job, it was a lot like when like Trump was in office and there's a lot of things going on racially.
Oh, that was a mess.
For me, like I wasn't on edge, but I definitely was just very observant with the language and
You had to be.
and I just was like treading very lightly because I felt a racial divide and I just felt that I couldn't deny it. But then I had to after time, I mean I'm very aware of what's going on, you know, back then, now, and whatever. But I just had to look within myself and say, you know what, like I have to, this is where I'm at right now. I have to come in here. And I just had to come with some sort of peace within my own self where I could feel a certain type of ease within, because I said those people are going to move the way they're going to move. A lot of this stuff that has gone on has been going on before me, it'll be here after me. But I definitely felt, and maybe other people didn't feel it or see it because they just was like, you know, that was the norm for them. But I definitely just kind of, if it makes sense, like I just treaded lightly. I was more very to myself and very just like, hello, how are you type of thing. And just
Keeping it short.
yeah, just keeping it
Right.
simple. And I did it intentionally because there was just a lot going on at that time. It was heavy, and you know, if you didn't have my complexion, it didn't affect you the same way. But if somebody had my complexion, then they definitely understood where I was coming from or how I felt. And I didn't share, like, no, you know, we didn't talk. I didn't share anything, you know, with anybody about the news or day-to-day things. But it was a little bit heavy for me at the time. But you know, all
You
praise.
made it through it.
Yeah. To God be the glory. I was able to, you know, move past that point, and you know, because it's bigger things for me to focus on. But anyway,
So the next question, love or stability?
stability.
Which one do you prefer the least?
Probably go for stability.
Why is that?
Love is so very much up and down.
Right. Emotions.
Right, it's very emotional and very up and down. So I'd rather go with the stability because, you know where you stand, right? You know where you stand with that person. You know what they're going to bring to the table.
Yes.
You know what you're going to bring to the table. So I'm more leaning towards the stability side. And I've always learned one thing is that never go, this is what I've heard, never be with the man that you love, be with the man that loves you.
Right. Exactly.
Right? So that just kind of clarifies, you know, what it really is. It's not, I don't
Because
think,
if he loves you, vice versa, never
Yeah.
be with a woman that you love, be with woman that loves you. But
They invest more heavily.
right, exactly.
They invest more heavily. And I mean, it sounds bad, but
No, it's not. I don't think so. I think stability is a good thing because if you're stable enough, I'm gonna love you anyway. So that's how I look at it. I want consistency. I want stability, and the love. You know, with the stability, you'll get the respect. You'll get the honesty. You'll get those great qualities. But love can be fickle sometimes.
Yeah.
So I like the stability, especially being a grown woman. I need that.
Because somebody can be, give you stability, but not love you.
Well, I'm not going to be with that person. Well, if they're giving you stability and other great qualities that come along with
You
it,
can
but
deal with.
I'm not going to deal with somebody and they give me stability, but they're abusive or they're not respectful or they're not honest, then I can't deal with that. But if you're a stable person in my life and I know where you stand, then I'm going to have a certain type of love for you, or you're going to have a certain type of love for me. So if that makes sense.
Diva?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I kind of feel like it's a little bit of both because, I mean, like the stability part for me is going to be like, are you mentally and emotionally stable? Because I don't got time for crazy.
Right.
And I
Right.
don't care if I love you or not. If you crazy, no, sis, I'm not going to do it. I like the idea of love because realistically, like, it's not about I would like you to be financially stable for you, not because I'm financially stable for me. So we come together,
Just
we
add
be
to
good,
each
and
other,
we,
right.
we can put together and we can take care of it. But like, I don't want to be in a position where I'm comfortable and then we don't even love each other.
Right.
Like, I don't think that me making sure that you're okay and making sure that things are stable is going to make you love me. It'll make you respect me, but respect and love didn't always go hand in hand. It's a lot of people that love somebody, but they just don't respect them. They don't really understand that they're not loving that person the right way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could be head over heels in love with somebody and just not be showing respect. So it's like I need for a person to, I need you to have that mental stability and emotional stability. Like, be clear with yourself. If you need help or you need some time to heal some stuff, then by all means, go ahead.
Right.
Do what you got to do. But I would want that love because, I can roll over to somebody who got a secure bank account and feel comfortable that the bills are paid. But can I roll over to that person and think that one day they might not leave me alone? I want to roll over to the person that I know if we broke, they're still right there. That's what I want to roll over.
But love, it could be, like, I'm not disagreeing with you, but love is the same way. You could love somebody so much and one day they up and leave or find somebody else.
They could, but I would take my chance with
When
it.
stability for me, I wasn't necessarily speaking of, you have to be, it wasn't all financial. It was more like you saying stable. Are you stable in a sense where you have the things that you need? Are you doing the things you're supposed to do? Are you headstrong? Are you business oriented? Are you good, like a good person altogether?
But most of the time,
Well, we're
when they
not gonna
mention
find
stability,
that
they
perfect
typically
person.
are talking
Well,
about
like,
is he good?
financial.
There's a
Right.
lot of broke
Right.
Yeah.
men out here that really be decent dudes. They just ain't got it to be
Right.
able to.
Right.
And it's hard for a woman to have to feel like she got to take the lead.
Right.
You know, most women don't want to have to take the lead. I don't care how aggressive you are. You don't want to take the lead. You want somebody else to lead you. You want him to say, "Okay, I got this. Like, just be dressed.
Exactly.
We going out. Don't worry about where we going." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's a really tough one. I think it's really tough to me because, I want to be loved, but then I want stability. But I know I can't have that perfect person. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's going to come with something.
Sometimes if they love you right, it'll put you emotionally and mentally
Right.
in a position so well,
I
so
don't,
good,
if you
that you
love
start
me,
flourishing and you get that
right,
stability,
but like you said, it can get to the point to where, okay, it's getting, I need you to come up with me. You know what I mean?
You gotta
Like,
keep telling them that you need to get up out of there.
If you have a stable
I said, don't
person,
be homeless for real.
right,
if you have a stable person in your life, you can also flourish in a way where you're like, you're growing together, and it's a certain type of care, like, and kindness that you all have. So,
what do you think?
I agree with you. Yeah, I think it should be a balance between the two. I don't know that you could be in something healthy that's more one and not the other, right?
Right.
Gotta be something.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next question. Is that it? Is that time?
That's
Oh, I guess it's time for a commercial.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in with us today on Her Epiphany. I'm Tina, your host, in the secret panel. We had good topic, good discussion with our ladies today, with Miss Jessica, Miss Denise, Miss Kim, and myself, and Miss D-Lo. So right now we're going to have D-Lo, the comedian, do a little performance for us right now. And I want to welcome her right now to the stage. You're welcome, D-Lo.
Right. This is different. How y'all doing? All right. Listen, this is like a startup church right here. We are few but faithful. You know what I mean? Y'all got to make some noise, make it like we in Carnegie Hall and stuff. So thank you in the back. All the people in the back, I know y'all in the nosebleeds and everything. You know, you should have spent more money for your tickets. I'm D-Lo. I'm from Baltimore. Most of y'all from Baltimore?
Yeah.
All four of y'all. I prefer to be introduced as a comedian from Maryland for obvious reasons. When I go to shows, it's always somebody in the audience come up to me after the show, and they be asking questions, whatever, and they're like, "Well, D-Lo, what part of Maryland are you from?" And I'm petty as hell, so I'm like, "Well, why don't you guess?" And they be like, "Are you from Annapolis?" I'm like, "Nah." They like, "You from Hyattsville?" I'm like, "Hell no." They be like, "What about Greenville?" Wait a minute, hold on. Hey now, how you doing, sir? Welcome to our church service this evening, sir. You look like you might have been one of my deacons or something this evening. How you feel? You look like one of them brothers that found Jesus or something. You look like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, you definitely do. Like you used to sell drugs and then you found Jesus afterwards. Yeah, maybe, you know they be them hustles in the church. And you one of them, you got the little khakis on now. I see how you getting down. You got your sweaters and stuff on. Back in the day, you had baggy pants and the drawers out. Yeah, I know you did. You look like a New York drug dealer. I know how that y'all be. Y'all be at church. Now y'all be at church testifying.
I'm from West Virginia.
Oh, West Virginia.
Yeah.
That's a different type of drug dealer. I don't know. West Virginia, I don't even know what y'all sell. Like cows and weed at the same time. I don't know what y'all
That's
sell.
about right.
You just on the farm selling cocaine on the farm.
Yeah, that's about right.
Like, come over to my barn real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and get the pack out of there. You probably in the, you found your spirituality now, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, you one of them hustlers from back in the day. You know how they be at the church now testifying and whatnot? You be all in the front of the church like, greetings, pastor, members and friends, usher board. I just wanted to testify real quick. They be like, go ahead, Deacon Tyrone. Yeah. And he be in there, I used to sling rocks. Now Jesus is my rock. Hallelujah. He's like, all right, Tyrone. Won't he do it? Won't he will? There's always one. Won't he will? Like, where did that come from, bro? I'm going to assume that this crowd in here, as big as it is open-minded. Y'all open-minded crowd. Y'all cool being open minds, open hearts, all that good stuff, right? All right, cool, no problem. Being from Baltimore is one fun fact about me, if you want to call it that. Another fun fact about me, and I feel like it's a good way to address the elephant in the room, kind of let y'all know a little bit about me. I don't know if y'all can tell looking at me. It's a very strong possibility I might be something similar to a lesbian, maybe, possibly. Wow. Yes, you didn't know. You couldn't tell, huh? I don't know how. Me and you, we look like we shop the same place, sir. What are you talking about? Come on now, I was trying to get them shoes low key, but your feet too big. But afterwards, let me get your Facebook. I know you're a little older. I don't know if you got IG. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got MySpace.
You MySpace?
Yeah.
Meet me on Black Planet then. Catch me on Black Planet, the old ass. Boy, the old heads is in the building.
Oh, yeah.
You was one of them dudes that was at Freaknik back in the day, wasn't you? Yes, you was down Freaknik with a motorcycle, wasn't you?
Hey, you know it.
I know you was. You probably had my mama on the back of that junk. I don't know.
Did.
I don't know. She was nasty. She's 77, but she drink Long Island, so she might have been down. She might have been down.
You never know.
You never know. consider myself like old gay. That's what I call myself because I don't really see myself really compared to the younger gays that you see out in the street now. Like it's just not the same. You remember the old gay back in the day. You knew the old gay. You would see the old gay in church. He was directing the choir. You would see the old gay in church. She had on the suit. She was clean and shit. She was dressed like Cedric the Entertainer, but you knew who she was. You know what I mean? She was an usher or something. I consider myself the old gay. I don't really understand the young gays. You know what I mean? I feel like me and the young gays can't relate. We don't got the same things in common. I don't even feel like I look like the young gays. You know what I mean? Like the little young black lesbians kind of look like Lil Wayne and Future and shit. The little young white lesbians look like Justin Bieber. I'm old. You know what I mean? I'm almost 45 years old. I feel like I look like a cross between Whoopi Goldberg and T-Pain. You know, like somewhere in the middle of that. You know what I mean? And then I consider myself a non-threatening lesbian. Like people have this misconception that women who wear men's clothing are always real aggressive and tomboyish. No, I'm just comfortable. That's it. I'm not doing no fighting. I'm not one of them little aggressive lesbians. Be out here tussling and all that foolishness. And I know it's only a few people in here, but I'm gonna let y'all know right now. If something jump off in this building, I'm gonna be the first one on A3. Y'all got me? Okay, I'm out of here. I'm not doing no fight. Ain't nothing gangsta about me. I'm not fighting nobody, sir. I'm from the county. I'm not fighting. You got me twisted. Ain't nothing thuggish about me. I'm from Milford Mills, sir. Ain't nothing gangsta about no 21207, dog. Ain't nothing gangsta about that. You ain't never seen nobody out the county like Liberty Road, bitch. Like, hell no. You get your ass whipped at Aldi, sir. Hell no, I ain't no thug, no. That's probably why I'm single, too. That's probably why I'm single because, you know, as a gay woman, women be wanting somebody to protect them. You know how it is. Women be wanting to protect her. I'm not a protector. I'm not doing no fighting. I'm not. I can't fight you anyway. I got on the waist trainer. How am I going to fight you with a waist trainer? I can't fight you in a girdle. Like, it's not going to happen. But women want protectors. I be seeing men when they out, they be having their hand on their lady's leg or hold her arm just to let you know that's me. I got that. Right. I'm saying, handle that. I'm not that person. I'm not. I tell women all the time when we out, listen, something jump off in here. Don't come hide behind me, sis. Don't do it, because I'm going to be hiding behind him. Y'all got me fucked. I'm a lady. I'm not doing no tussling. Ain't no tussling in me. And these women, they always want to get into it with people in public. They get into it with other women. They get into it with men. She over here cussing them out, and all this other stuff with him. And she gonna look at me like, D-Lo, get him. Get who, ma'am? Who? I'm a lady too. What are you talking about? Like, I'm not fighting him. You can, shit. Guess who ain't fighting? I'm be right behind Diamond K. Y'all got me. He got waves. I know he can fight.
You're big light skin.
He's big thick dude, yeah. And then he got that hair that looked like the front of the Duke box, don't he?
Yeah.
He ain't got no Beijing. That's natural. He look like a Dominican. That's natural right there. Yeah, you do. You look like you used to sell weight, but I wasn't gonna say nothing because you got to finish recording.
Crazy boy.
It's crazy. My family tried to act like they didn't know I was gay. Go figure, right?
Right.
Go figure. And it's interesting, the family member that gave me the hardest way to go, hands down, about the whole thing, was my mom, which I didn't understand because she was a single parent. She was the one that raised me, and I don't feel like I was raised like a typical little girl. Like, I didn't do little girl stuff. I didn't play with dolls and Barbies and all that. I collected baseball cards and basketball cards, and I played a lot of sports because it was mostly boys in my neighborhood. I didn't learn some of the lessons little girls learn, like how to bake and sew and cook and things like that. I had a working mother who was a single parent. She was a teacher, Baltimore City Public Schools. She taught regular school. She taught night school. She taught summer school. She taught all the schools because, honestly, Baltimore got some dumbass kids. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, keep it 100. You know, I was one of them. So, shit, you know. I didn't do the chores that little girls typically do, like dusting and vacuuming, you know, maybe light dishes, stuff like that. No. My mother had me outside cutting the grass, front and back. And I had allergies, sir. She had me changing brakes and changing oil filters, and she gonna wonder why I'm gay. I said, I'm like, sis, you turned me into the best husband possible. What the hell was I supposed to do? That's why all her neighbors keep trying to sleep with me because I put the lines in their grass. That's what it is. Yeah. Them old ladies know what it is. I was like, look at her in the back. She's like, you better watch it, ma'am. Watch it, ma'am. Who mama is that? Shit, that's all I'm about to say. Listen, I'll be your stepdaddy. Keep playing. Yeah, man, shoot. That's how you got to do it. Like, I be telling young guys all the time, don't deal with these young women, man. These young women don't treat you right. Don't deal with these young women. Get you an older woman. Get you an older woman that appreciates stuff like like a freshly cut lawn. I promise you, you go get you a lawnmower and a gas can, because you're going to always need the gas can. You pull up to the older lady's house. She might have a name like Brenda, Barbara, Shirley, Deborah, Jackie. Jackie always works. So does Barbara, because you ain't never met no Barbara under 52, have you? You know?
No.
What Barbara? You know a 19-year-old Barbara? Hell no. You ain't never went to the club and be like, Barbara was twerking like shit. Hell no, Barbara don't twerk. Barbara got a hover around. She twerk like this. That's how Barbara twerk. Ain't no twerking with Barbara.
Right.
But you pull up to Barbara's house with the lawnmower and the gas can. I promise you, when you pull that cord, I promise you, Barbara's old ass coochie get wet instantly. Yes, it might taste like cornstarch, but it get wet. It definitely get wet. You know them old ladies be putting the powder on that.
Yeah.
They trying to keep it dry there. She back there like, don't tell them all my secrets. They put the little powder on it. I love that shit, man. I like when they put the powder on it. They make the coochie taste like fried fish. That shit is amazing. Yeah. Hot sauce on that thing, yeah. Like seafood. I'm from Baltimore. Oh, man. It's crazy. When I got into comedy, people started asking questions about my lifestyle. Most of it is because of the material I do. I do talk a lot about my lifestyle. People would ask questions about if I had issues with my coming out with my family or my friends. I actually was one of the lucky ones. I had a supportive family, so I was lucky on that. And then I have a best friend who's straight. She and I have been friends for 33 years. So we have a pretty good relationship. But again, she's straight and I'm gay. So of course we get the stupid questions all the time from the guys that she dates. Like, they always got to ask all these foolish questions as if a gay woman and a straight woman can't be friends and that be it. You know?
Right.
The guy's always wondering, you straight and your best friend is gay. Y'all ever fool around? Now, I don't know about y'all, but I had my best friend around for 33 years. Any of you ladies had best friends? Yeah, you had a best friend, right? You had a best friend for how long? Like 15, 20 years? Yeah, so you know a lot about your best friend, right? You know shit about your best friend you didn't want to know about your best friend, right? Yeah. Like, I know about everything been in my best friend's vagina since 1992, okay? That's a lot of shit. All right? That's stuff that I didn't want to know. And I be looking at these men, and they be looking at me, and they be like, you sure y'all ain't fooling around? I be like, sir, why would I mess with her? I've known her 33 years. I know too much about her. Why would I mess with her? I don't understand why you want to fuck with her. I don't get it. I keep trying to tell you, she's a hoe. She's a hoe. But she's a hoe with a PhD, so that gets different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She's like a white marsh hoe. That's different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's an interesting relationship we have. We get along pretty well. I don't really have problems out of her like I have with other people. I don't really have a lot of problems with a lot of people. Sometimes I have issues with some men, but for the most part, no. It's not like I'm one of those lesbians that has a vendetta against men. Like, I'm just not that person. I don't have an issue with men at all. I had great men in my life. You know, I had a great father. I had great uncles. I have an okay brother because fuck him. He gets on my nerves anyway. So, you know, you feel me. You put your hands up. She caught the Holy Ghost real quick on that. She do not like her brother, apparently. Yeah, let me not put her on blast, though. He be in the background like, who the fuck? You know. But no, like, you know, I don't have an issue with these men. Some of these men have a problem with me. That's their insecurity. That's not mine. You know, they see that I wear men's clothing, tomboyish, might have a backwards hat on. Some of them, you know, they be thinking, oh, she trying to be something she not. Like I said, I be wearing hoodies and all that. I be having jeans and sneakers. I think they be mad because I found them jeans before he did. You know what I'm saying? His ass you should have got up early, sir. You should have got up early. It was Black Friday. So, you know, y'all be mad when you get to the store and we got all the 38s. You be mad as shit, don't you? Hell yeah, now all the jeans got hip room in them. I be mad as hell. But like I said, you know, I don't have an issue with men. Some of these men have a problem with me, and that's their problem. Some men, they see the way that I dress. I wear men's clothing, tomboyish, got the backwards hat. They be looking at me like, oh, she trying to be a man. I'm here to tell you, no, sir. Not as long as women get in the club free before 11. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Because I don't have $20 to get in, sir, and I don't know what to tell you. I go to the club with my homegirls. I got to warn them ahead of time because when I go out, it's always them security guards. They be giving me problems. You know, the dude in the black, all swole with the gloves, kind of built like Diamond K, thick ass, all swole like this and everything. I get to the club and they checking IDs and all. I got to warn my homegirls because I know security going to give me problems. I got to warn my homegirls. I'll be like, watch this. Security guard calls me up. He's like, step up, yo. I step up, look him right in his eyes. He goes to pat me down. Bop, 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 bop. $20, homeboy. I'm like, No, sir! Hell no! I be in front of the club like, real ass bitch, get up. Got me fucked up. I'm gonna shake this ass to get him free, sir. Hell no. I ain't got it. Them security guards be mad as shit. They be like, go in the club. I be like, okay. What you talking about? I'm gonna shake this ass. Oh, man. You funny. Oh, man. I used to deal with younger women. I had to stop that. Couldn't deal with women under 30 anymore. Something wrong with women under 30. Something is wrong with them. Like, at one point in time, I was 38. I had a 23-year-old girlfriend. Right. You get it. I didn't understand her or her text messages. I didn't know what the hell she was talking about. Everything was 3 letters. LOL, BRB, LLS, WTF. I'm old as hell and stupid as hell. I'm texting back in numbers, 825. She was like, what the fuck is this? I said, get out my house. Get out. Go back to your mama house. Get back to the basement where you live, okay? Because you know all the irresponsible young girls live downstairs. Bought a fucking washing machine. Sick of you. Oh, man. I can't deal with younger women. It's really one reason I can't deal with younger women. It's very simple, and younger women typically hate it when I say it, but it is what it is. My biggest problem with younger women is simple. Younger women physically are not capable of being able to properly season food. That's the problem. They can't cook. They just can't cook. And they don't know what they need to be able to properly season food, but I'm going to break it down for y'all so y'all can pass the information on to the younger women, okay? So, first thing, younger women are smart. A younger woman has been afforded education so they can go into the kitchen, they can read recipes, they can follow directions, they can look at the measurements, they can handle all that because they're smart. They can figure that part out. A younger woman is very smart. A younger woman can go into the kitchen, they can use whatever tools, products, machines, materials, whatever's in the kitchen, they can handle that part too because they're smart. But again, younger women physically do not have what it takes to be able to properly season food, and they don't know what that is. And I do. So the thing them younger women don't have, them younger women don't have that fat ass meat underneath the arm. Them old joints got, I know you got a couple of them. You smiling like, yeah, Brenda got that shit. Yeah, you know. All of them younger women, they don't have that. And they don't know why they need it, but I do. See, the key is, you see how that arm moves? That bop, 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 bop. That right there, that's what keeps the tempo with the season. It's like salt, pepper, Old Bay, bop, bop, bop. But watch my arm, bop, 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 bop. Watch the transition, bop, 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 bop. That's how grandparents be staying together so long because she be stirring that chili and beating that dick.
That's right.
Yeah, grandma be in that fucking moo-moo all day. How the fuck you think her mortgage got paid? She beats the shit out of your granddaddy's dick, okay? Beat the wheels off that joint. Willie be happy, okay? Real happy. That's why I can't deal with younger women, man. Can't do it. Like, I need a woman to know how to make good cabbage and shit like that, you know what I mean? I'm looking for a woman to smell like white diamonds and Social Security runs, bitch. That's what I need her. Hey, I see you in the back. Ah, watch yourself. Hey, I'll be outside on your car. I need to leave older women alone. No, I need to stop messing with older women. Stop picking with them when I go to shows and stuff talking trash, man. Them older women be so mad when I'm talking trash at them shows, man. That's why I see them in the back grabbing their husband's hand like, come on, Raymond, we out of this motherfucker. I be like, all right, forget Raymond, yo. Be outside on her Cadillac like, remember me from the show? And then you know it's the pink one because she sell Mary Kay. Yeah. And what you use on your arms when it's mosquitoes outside? What you use? She ain't gonna answer because she know I know. No, what do y'all use when y'all? What is it? The skin so soft, right? Yeah. She know. I know it's in her purse. She's looking for it now. Look. Oh, I thought she was looking for it. I was going to be like, sold.
That was the old school.
Yeah, man, them young girls, they don't know nothing about that. They in there with the off and everything. Now they look like they got chicken pox and shit, man. I'm going to get out of here on this. I knew this was going to be the lifestyle for me. I knew I was going to be part of the whole LGBT. Oh, come on. How you doing? All right. I knew I was going to be part of the LGBT community. I knew this was going to be the lifestyle for me. I knew I wasn't going to ever be in a relationship with a man because it just wouldn't have worked out. You know, me and a dude, it wasn't going to happen. And I apologize to anybody who has an issue with the fact that I only said LGBT and not the other 37 letters. But you know, realistically, we didn't have all them letters when I came out. I'm 44 years old. We didn't have them letters. That didn't come out to the 90s. You know what we had when I came out? We had this. That's what we had. They be like, does she like boys? No, she. That's what we had. We had no damn letters, so don't judge me about no letters, man. But I knew that I couldn't be in a relationship with a man because I know that's not the energy that I have. Like, I don't have a boyfriend energy. I don't have a boyfriend attitude either. Like, seriously, picture me with a boyfriend. Right. You see? That don't look right, do it? No, we feel like we should be picking up women together, right? Right. But seriously, picture me with a boyfriend. Picture Diamond K was my man. Yeah. He kind of thick, though. I don't know. He work a little cake, though. I'm saying, you bad as shit, though. But picture Diamond K was my man. Picture me and him laying in the bed together. I'm the big spoon. Picture me and Diamond K laying in the bed together. We split a pack of wife beaters and boxer briefs. He mad at me for stretching all the beaters out of my titties and shit. Now he look like he got on Detroit Pistons jerseys every morning. I can't do it, y'all, man. Anyway, y'all, that's my time. I got another show that I got to run to, but I do want to say this. I do want to say thank you so much for having me on your podcast, because I was on the podcast that she does, the regular podcast, and then we have this live one right now. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, because a lot of times people don't give these opportunities to female comics. They tend to think that women are not funny, or that women can't excel in the same fields that men can excel in. But, and I hate to say this because I'm probably not supposed to cuss on here, but anybody who thinks that way, you got me fucked up, okay? Because women are funny. Yesterday, I did a show, we sold out. The day before, I did a show in New York, we sold out. Only 4 females on the show. Everybody killed, sold out. So what I expect is she's going to end up doing this again. We're going to have more comics. I expect to see y'all faces in here, but it's going to be other people in here, so it'll be super crowded. And we're going to continue to support Black women in comedy, if that's okay with y'all. All right, y'all be easy.